Long after Abraham had begun his journey of faith, he and his wife Sarah settled in the land God had shown them. Abraham loved God and trusted him with all his heart, and God continued to speak to him, promising even more wonderful things. One day, God spoke again. "Abraham, I will give you a son," he said. "Through him, I will bless all the nations of the earth." Abraham was amazed. He looked at Sarah, who was already very old. "But how can we have a child?" Abraham whispered. "We are too old, and Sarah cannot have children." God smiled, "For nothing is impossible with him. Your wife Sarah will have a son. You shall name him Isaac. I promise this will be the beginning of your great nation." Sarah laughed softly when she heard the promise. She thought, "Can this really happen? I am too old." But God's words were true. Abraham and Sarah chose to trust him, even when it seemed impossible. Time passed, and Abraham prayed and trusted God patiently. He built altars, worshiped God, and always listened to his guidance. Abraham believed that God's promise would come true, because God always keeps his word. Finally, as God had promised, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. Abraham and Sarah were overjoyed. They named him Isaac, which means laughter, because Sarah had laughed in wonder at God's promise. Abraham hugged Isaac and thanked God. He knew this child was a gift and a sign that God keeps his promises. Isaac would grow up to continue Abraham's family, and one day, God would use him to bless the world, just as he had promised. This story reminds us that God's promises are always true, even when they seem impossible. Like Abraham and Sarah, we can trust God with our hearts, our lives, and our futures. When we believe and obey him, he can do amazing things that we could never do on our own. Thanks for listening to the story of Abraham, Sarah, and God's wonderful promise. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to continue exploring God's amazing promises together. And tell us in the comments, what promise from God would you like to trust him with today?